Hi, this is Dennis, and on today's video we're going to be working on an Abu Garcia fishing reel. It's a 6,000 size spinning reel. It's got an issue. The oscillation is not working. This should be going up and down. Well, it's going up and down all right, but not under the drive of the reel. So this was sent in by Bobby. Bobby asked me if I could take a look at it, see if we can't restore it. And my fear is that we may be able to identify the issue, but we may not be able to get parts to repair this. So we're going to take a look at it. This is called the C6000S3, and it's a Cardinal. It's an Abu Garcia Cardinal 6000 S3. Series 3? Don't know. Alright, well look, we're going to take this reel apart. I call them lessons to be learned, sometimes tuition reels. Sometimes we're fortunate enough that we can learn from the issue, learn how to adjust and correct it, and or restore the reel. So that's our hopes here, is that we'll get this one fishing again. But the experience that I have, generally speaking, with an oscillation gear means that there's a broken part in here, and we might get lucky. It may simply be that a screw fell out and it's inside the case, but I don't hear any rattling going on there. So let's see. Well, while I take off the exterior pieces and parts, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel, particularly if you like learning about fishing reels, if you like servicing them, and if you enjoy the idea of restoring or keeping a family heirloom or a treasure, or something maybe was handed to you. Keep that in good use and able to go fishing. And that's kind of what this channel is designed about. It's about me transferring what I'm learning and what I know to you so that you can become better at it. And well, if you get better at it, more reels will be out of the landfill and onto the water. So we took the 3 exterior screws out. We removed the screw that was in the bump cap, and we found that there's one more screw underneath. Now, I always like to point this out when I remove screws. Pay particular attention as you're removing them. That inner screw under that bump cap is shorter than the 3 long ones that were in these side plates. All right, well, to understand the oscillation systems in spinning reels, you need to kind of understand the designs behind them. There are 2 predominant designs in a spin fishing reel. The first one utilizes a 2-gear system. The main gear drives the rotor. The secondary gear, which comes off the back of the main gear, intersects with what's called an oscillation gear. That oscillation gear has an offset stud on it, and over that oscillation gear rides a crosswind block. Well, when the offset goes around in the circle, the stud moves up and down. This is lodged in that crosswind block, so it goes up and down. The second type of system is actually a line guide pawl system. It's used in Shimano's and some other reels, and that system is all about using a line guide that you're familiar with on a conventional bait casting reel like this one. Only instead of it being a line guide that drives back and forth, what happens in this reel is that you stand it on its edge and it drives the axle shaft up and down. Well, I don't know which one we have inside of here, but we're going to continue with this. We took the screws out. We want to remove the click ratchet and the shim washer, because this one has a body that goes underneath the rotor, so we need to take the rotor off in order to get to the inner workings of this reel. Okay. When I take my pieces and parts off, they go into a parts tray. I use a fast food container. And let's see which reel. It looks like it's a 12mm nut. Just need to locate my 12mm wrench. Always a challenge in the middle of a video to try and figure out where that went. Here we go. And when you're taking a real rotor nut off, Try the first way, which is the traditional lefty-loosey or counterclockwise turn of the nut. If that nut is not turning, try the other direction. There are many spinning wheels that have a reverse threaded nut that hold on that rotor. And if you are struggling with the one side, try it on the other. We've removed the nut. Now we should be able to remove the rotor. And underneath the rotor, it's it's a instant anti-reverse system, and it looks like it's operational. Good. All right, so you can see that the case comes underneath here. We should be able to check first to see if there's any more screws, and then we should be able to pull that off. Well, we can pull that off. And now we have the internals, which is what we were discussing. And as I mentioned, we have a crosswind block and a oscillation gear system. And what I'm noticing right away is that the stud that's offset on that oscillation gear is outside the crosswind block. So my guess is that this crosswind block is broken. Well, to find that out, what we want to do is we want to remove the screw that's holding that crosswind block together. And while I'm doing that, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, if you leave those questions in the comment section, I will try to answer them for you. Okay, with that screw removed, hold the crosswind block and pull up and out on the axle shaft. Then we can remove what remains of that crosswind block. So that's your failure right there. The crosswind block is shattered. Let's take a look inside the reel then, find out where it is. Well, that's a good portion of it right there. And this is the offset that we were talking about in that oscillation gear. Well, the age of this reel is going to pretty much ensure that you're not going to be able to get the parts for it. I'll do an online parts check to see if it's available. My guess is it is not available any longer due to the age of the reel. And here's the problem with what happens with parts supports for reels like this. These reels are generally not that expensive. Let's just call them almost disposable. And one of the ways that they keep the expense down on reels that are like this is that they don't provide the parts support. So there's no number to call, there's no inventories that they're holding of spare parts, nothing like that is going on. And as a result, when something breaks, well, unfortunately, it becomes disposable. This reel can live on. It can live on as a parts donor reel for others. Let's just check some of the main parts here. Let's look at that main gear. The main gear is in good condition. The bushing is okay. It's not great. That's another indication that it's not a very expensive reel. It's got a plastic bushing as opposed to either a metal bushing or a bearing. I guess if you wanted to make this reel run nicely, you can upgrade off of that back bushing there and put in a bearing. There is a bearing on this side. So there's a 2-bearing system in this reel. There's a bearing on the pinion gear. There's a bearing on the front side of the drive. There's a bushing on the back. So I think what we learned from this one is the reel has failed because of a broken part. That broken part, in all probability, is no longer available. This reel, well, I'm not sure if there's a demand for parts for this reel, but this reel could live on in being a parts reel for others, so long as they're not looking for that broken crosswind block that has shattered here and caused the reel to fail. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I enjoy doing just this. One, because I like to learn from this. If I find a particular reel or model keeps coming in with a lot of issues, I like to find out what the common cause of it is. And well, when people ask me, what do you think about this reel, I have more information available about what you might expect to be the weak link in the reel. But you can also learn about the design of the reels, how they were manufactured, what types of reels and what systems seem to work better. And in this case, I think what we found out is it's a good system. The weak link here somehow was that block shattered. And it's hard to say. Did that shatter because of abuse? Or did that shatter because it was just a piece of pot metal that kind of reached its stress limits and just cracked under a load? And that's possible. You could have had a very big fish on this reel and trying to fight that fish, and just the fight of the fish is going to come down through that axle. It's going to go into the gear system, and that crosswind block there is an integral part of the gearing of the reel. So if they were involved in a big fight, it's quite possible that they tried to reel out of it, and when they did that, well, something shattered and broke the reel for good. Well, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank our first responders and essential personnel for their career choices and what they do. And I want to thank everybody for sticking with this video and watching it. It's a nice reel. Unfortunately, its days of reeling are done. So I'll pass this one back to Bobby. He can hold it for another use. Perhaps he'll find a donor reel that has that block in it, or he'll turn this into a donor reel and be able to repair other reels with this. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your day.